Hello, guys, and welcome back to this new episode. Today, we are going to discuss and we are going to question you and try to provide certain answers to the question why men prefer women with a big butt, with a large ass, in other words. And in order to address this sort of question, then we have to go back and actually evaluate differences in aesthetical values, right, which have changed over the course of many centuries. And just to give you an example, if Vogue had existed in the 16th century, 14th, 15th, 16th century, probably on the covers you would have seen more and more Lizzo or people like her with a certain weight and with a certain cleavage and with large hips, and that is because hips, for instance, were extremely important because smaller hips or a square shape of the torso was taken as a sign of impossibility or nearly impossibility to deliver babies, and also big breast was part of the tradition of having or of considering women actually beautiful, and at the same time the fact of being slightly overweight or a big overweight was or hugely overweight was taken as a sign of wealth. And so fat women were wealthy, and that was a good reason to consider them beautiful, attractive, and therefore to put them on the cover. Now, Vogue did not exist at the time, but that was for sure the model, the stereotype they were going for, right? And there's a Venus of Crete, for instance, is a typical example. We're going back in time, we're going to ancient Greeks, but that's a typical example of what they considered beautiful and therefore attractive. And in history, we have had examples of terrible, horrible and horrifying practices, such as those carried out by Spartans or Aztecs and Mayas that prescribed as a form of deformation of the body, right? And in the case of Spartans, they would throw babies out of or down the top of a mountain to see if they survived, if they presented certain features, certain physical traits that they did not like. Anyway, today we're not going to discuss about those practices, but we're going to focus on the question, and the question being why do men prefer women with a large butt or with a big butt? Now, I am sure that we could think that this is a criterion that applies only to certain societies, but the truth is that men across all cultures seem to prefer a big butt, and so that asks and that invites backs the question of why that is so. And just in order to answer to that question, we are going to use some kind of like more scientific type of material to address and provide an answer. Indeed, you guys might remember Tolstoy's novels, where women are described as having certain habits, such as that of filling with padded material and little pieces of fabric that they would put underneath, so basically to cover their butts, and that would serve the purpose of make it look bigger. And so here we are saying the same thing, right? We're saying that this is a cross-cultural tradition. So there is certainly some sort of hype around having big butts right? And that is because of twerking, because of Caribbean dances, because of a bunch of elements, right? That actually have stimulated the whole hype around having a big butt, and also how that would look aesthetically, right? And there's certainly an ancestral reason, and that being the fact that more fat would also mean that that woman is more likely to survive ancestrally in conditions of poverty. And so to have more fat tissue can guarantee a better survival of the species. So a very primordial reason is connected to evolution, right? And to evolution and survival of the species. And the way it is connected is because aesthetically that is perceived as beautiful, because it guarantees a better, a higher likelihood of survival. So there's certainly this ingredient, but this seems not to be so fundamental as we might have thought, because a university, a Turkish university, that of Bilkent, has proved that actually it's not the fat tissue the crucial point of why big butts are so much liked by men, but rather it is the angle of the spine. So again, what we have learned from this research is that all that matters is just how the spine is inclined. Specifically, this research proves that we all need an angle of 45 degrees, and so that would create exactly the kind of shape that is attractive to men. Now, there are reasons why this type of angle is so important. One more time, we have to resort to evolution and to evolutionistic sort of reasons, and we will understand that this type of degree of this type of curve of the spine is what allows women that are pregnant to bend more easily. Now, in old times, when men and women did not have a lot of means for survival, actually the possibility when the woman was pregnant to bend down was extremely important, because could gather some food and then provide could gather like apples, or could gather like food that grows on the land and provide food on the table. There have been other studies, such as that of Swami and colleagues, that have also proved that stressed men prefer women that have some pounds more than at least the girls that you see on the covers of newspapers, of magazines and whatnot, right? And that is again to be traced back to stress, and to how stress is pretty much perceived ancestrally, right? And how stress is connected to this urge of having fat, and therefore having resources, and therefore guarantee their own survival and also the survival of the species. I also need to say that there are also other studies that have revealed something about the proportion between the waistline and the hips, and specifically those studies seem to suggest that if you have a small waist and then you have larger hips, right? And so in other words, and a big butt. So in other words, if you're a natural Kardashian, you are more intelligent than average, and also the kids that you will deliver and bring to this world are gonna be more intelligent. Now, to be honest with you, I honestly don't have a clue where is this actually coming from? And it's very surprising, and it leaves me a lot of doubt in my mind, because I would like to understand how they have actually carried out those kind of research, and how they can determine and establish a correlation between intelligence and the waistline. But with that being said, those are the studies that we do now have available. And again, this is a research that I just can't really believe, but now the ball is in your half. The ball is to you, and so you have to tell me your opinion. Let me know first of all what you think. If you think that there are or there might be other reasons that here have not been mentioned, let me know what you think of this reason, and if you could actually believe that those are scientific research, and if because of that you wouldn't want to become a scientist like that. Just asking. But let me know, comment below, leave your thoughts, give me your opinion on all of this. Of course, leave a thumbs up, and also click on the like button. Subscribe to the channel, that's extremely important. And again, comment below, let me know your thoughts on this episode. We are going to catch up with a new episode next time. It's gonna be crazy, and probably as much as this episode was. And I thank you for all of your support and your love. I love you back. We'll talk again next time with another episode. Bye.